Book 1, Law of Salimi, Chapter 19, Law of Salimi, the Analyst. If you, the reader, still haven't seen the anime titled Law of Ueki, which consists of 51 episodes, you should, because this chapter will analyze that anime and its relation to my life story. So go ahead, put a bookmark on this chapter 19, stop reading this book, and go watch all 51 episodes of the anime known as Law of Ueki. After you are done, come back here and pick up the book and go back to chapter 19 of this book and continue reading again. If you wish to not heed my advice, it is absolutely your prerogative on this matter. However, you might have a hard time understanding this chapter if you still not confused from my life story so far. Nonetheless, if you are adamant not watching the anime, I respect your decision to do so. On the other hand, if you did watch the anime, you can easily understand this chapter. Before I even going to start analyzing the anime, look at the choice that I gave to you, the reader, as a challenge as well as an experiment. It can be used as an analog to show you, the reader, the fact that if you attend your class without any preparation and sat there unmotivated to learn, it wouldn't be a surprise if you cannot comprehend most of the things that the lecturer tried to teach you. On the other side of the spectrum, if you attend a class after you have read the whole chapter that the lecturer is going to teach during the class, understanding the subject becomes very easy. If you do not believe me, try reading this chapter without watching the Law of Ueki anime, and you would have a very high chance to get confused or difficulty to follow the concept that I will introduce in this chapter. After experiencing that, go ahead and watch the whole anime and then reread this chapter once again. You would understand everything explored in this chapter with utter ease. In doing so, I have just demonstrated the analogy that preparation before class helps you understanding during class tremendously is a true fact in real life. So, here we go. In the anime Law of Ueki, the story focuses on Kosuke Ueki, an odd boy who was considered to be very weird and even suspected to be an alien from outer space. Considering the reader might not share my passion towards anime, let me caution everyone, because the anime Law of Ueki is simply fictional story. However, the essence of its story is reflecting real-life events. Ueki is just a simple student who had felt different from other students. One day, he saw a man exacting justice. From that day on, he began pursuing the path of justice. He is so dedicated in walking that path, which means nothing else matters to him. He is willing to overcome all obstacles in front of him. He never gives up, even when knowingly fighting a losing battle. He never runs away from any challenges. Despite all that, he never seeks glory or even care about winning. He is simply concerned about doing the right thing and fighting for justice. He would rather intentionally lose a fight just to prove a point to someone. To me, this element made him unique from most other characters in anime that I had ever seen throughout my life. What astonishes me the most is the fact that the character Kosuke Ueki reverberates to my life story. I am not as strong as he is, but our intention is similar. No, that the first time I watched the complete episode of Yueki is at 2004 or 2005. At that time, I was 23 years old, which meant that every event that was similar to Yueki happened to me before I knew the anime existed. After analyzing the law of Yueki, I feel that my life story is similar to his. I too am walking the path towards justice. In fact, I suspect that the life element of Yueki contains attributes of being a good Muslim and in line with the teachings of Islam. Considering that law of Yueki originated from Japan, I felt that the character of Yueki is in accordance to the teachings of Islam was simply amazing. I must say that not 100% of Yueki is based on Islam, but his kindness, honesty, humble nature, selfless, and numerous other features truly suggest that the creation of Yueki is based on the teachings of Islam. I know that this notion can be considered as illogical or crazy by any Muslim scholar who possess a serious understanding about Islam. Notwithstanding, I challenge those scholars to watch the anime Law of Yueki and tell me that Yueki does not behave in accordance to Islam. The anime also explores the concept of how kindness can affect the behavior of others, including changing bad behavior into becoming a good human being. The whole theme of the anime focuses on using kindness and justice to change evil into goodness to all mankind. It might sound weird for an anime to have such story plot, but this is the main reason for me to acknowledge that the law of Yueki is in a different class of anime compared to almost every other anime that I had ever seen. The story is unique. Yueki is unique. To me, the anime Law of Yueki is considered as the best anime ever made because of the theme of kindness and justice as weapon of choice. If you wish to challenge my view or disagree with me, go ahead and watch the anime, which contains 51 episodes, then explain to me that I am wrong about this. Show me that Yueki is a cliché character that can be seen as every other anime that has ever been made. The anime did not focus on how much power you need about winning. It teaches me that winning is not necessarily meant defeating the enemy in actual fight. It showed how Yueki managed to change the heart of his enemies without using any special power aside from performing the act of kindness towards the enemy, including during an actual battle. In most battles in the anime Law of Yueki, it is not about winning and defeating your enemy in the physical sense, but the battle of will and determination towards an idea. In fact, if you analyze the anime closely, you should be able to realize that in the anime, there is no evil or villain to fight against a hero character. It is simply Yueki believes in an idea of justice while other side was engulfed in the concept of revenge, which to them is perceived as justice. There is no good or bad in the story, but simply two confronting ideas by two sides of characters. Yueki upholds justice and protecting the weak, and his opponent upholds the notion of exacting revenge for the past crimes committed upon them and their kin. If you, the reader, do not like the standard cliché of most of the popular anime today, trust me on the fact that Law of Yueki is different and unique. A part of the unique plot of the anime, even the opening songs The first and the second opening songs for Law of Yueki reflected the idea of kindness and justice. It explores how difficult it would be for someone who chooses to walk the path of justice. It describes how much sacrifice one needs in order to complete the journey, as well as everlasting determination to keep on the same path, regardless of the obstacles and challenges that await for the person to face. I love both songs because I can see myself going through the path which I began walking since I was 17 years old of age. At present, I could attest to the reader that it is true and extremely difficult to maintain walking the same path. It would be easier to simply abandon it and start a new life from scratch. However, I already knew about the hardship and I need to endure when I chose to walk the path of a scholar. In addition, the anime Law of Yueki also uses the concept of fighting tournament to make up the story plot. To me, that was not the important part of the story. What was hidden in the anime was the fact that every participant, including Yueki, has a limited talent. The concept of talent was introduced very early in the anime. This concept indicates that every human being is born with a certain specific talent. To me, this is the most important hidden concept in the story plot of the anime Law of Yueki. As the anime develops, the most important element is when Yueki refuses to follow the standard rule, which is trying to gain as much talent as possible by winning fights. To Yueki, the amount of talent is not important. To him, the most important thing is the passion of doing what you love, regardless of whether you have a talent for it or not. In one of the episodes, Yueki possesses the natural talent of running. He is the best runner in his school and even in the whole district. His talent of running lets him to break records easily, possesses very high stamina and endurance level, which helps him run at a level above than other average students. Nevertheless, to Yueki, having such talent is not important at all. He claims that he just runs because he loves to run. His natural talent of running does not affect his passion for running in any way. In later episodes, he even loses the talent of running on purpose to show to his opponents that he spoke the truth. After losing the talent of running, Yueki became one of the worst runners in his school, but it never stops him from running every evening. When his opponent saw his action, the person started to realize that even without talent, if anyone practices hard enough, anyone can be successful and happy with his or her life. To me, the exposure of this concept teaches me a lot about real life. Yeah, it is weird to learn about real life from an anime Law of Yueki. Another dimension introduced in the anime Law of Yueki is the fact that every participant in the tournament possesses a certain chosen ability. In the case of Yueki, he chose the ability of turning trash into tree, considering many other abilities available for the choosing. It seems that Yueki had made the wrong choice to take up the lame ability of changing trash into a tree. However, the story plot also introduces how the ability can be developed to get stronger and eventually reaches the limit or the wall of that ability. It is known as the limit of level 1, where everyone who can break the limit of level 1 would be able to unleash the level 2 of that particular ability. The importance of mentioning this is the fact that I see myself having my level 1 ability of virtually permanent memory However, I needed to trigger this selective memory by exerting intense emotional feelings at that particular moment. Based on the anime law of Ueki, my ability is to change intense emotion to selective memory, which is currently seemed to be permanent. So, for my level 1 ability, I can change intense emotion to selective memory. Yeah, lame. Just like Ueki, my level 1 ability is extremely lame. Nonetheless, if you watch the anime, as Yueki began reaching level 2, his ability unleashes a new special power hidden underneath his lame level 1 ability. The level 2 power is extremely unique to Yueki alone, causing his ability to become a game changer to the whole tournament. What was the special ability of level 2? If you had watched the whole anime Law of Yueki like I recommended earlier in this chapter, you would have known even before I mentioned them. So to encourage those of you who still adamantly deciding against watching the anime, I will not tell his special ability here. The reason that I highlight the hidden level 2 ability of Yueki, which is game changing in the anime, is because I also feel that in my real life, my lame level 1 ability of changing intense emotion into selective memory would have a special hidden level 2 game changing ability. At the point of writing this book at 33 years old, I can simply tell you right away whether I really achieve to unleash my level 2 talent and whether it is an awesome game changing ability in my actual real life. However, if I simply do that, you, the reader, might not be interested to read my life story to find out about it. So I decided that I will explore my level 2 abilities in the future chapter. So keep on reading with excitement. Anyway, there are a lot more that I can explore and analyze the anime law of Ueki in this chapter. But let me stop here and let you, the reader, watch the anime and analyze them by yourself. Later, you can compare what are similarities that I intentionally did not discuss in this chapter. You might be able to compare the story plot against your own life story. Are you similar to Ueki or other characters in the anime Law of Ueki? Whatever your choice might be, I hope you have fun doing them. Although watching the anime can be extremely enjoyable and interesting, consider this a challenge to you, the reader, to see whether you can improve your analytical skills. Now, let me go back to my life story. When I analyze my life experience, the similarity of Yueki's belief with mine was reflected on my notion when I started drawing. I had zero talent whatsoever in drawing, competing against the most talented artists that I ever knew back then. Everyone around me said that I was crazy, but I believed that I love drawing, so to me, drawing is fun and enjoyable. I cannot win competing against Nizam, but I love the experience. Every time that I lost from everyone that I lost from him teaches me to be a better person myself and discover new techniques and skills about drawing. It takes time for me to be able to draw that way that I am drawing today. I am still not the best artist or even be able to defeat Nizam in drawing talent. Nonetheless, I love every single moment drawing throughout my lifetime. From this perspective, I am very similar to Yueki. It explains why I am so drawn to the character Kosuke Yueki. When I watch the anime Law of Yueki, I do not care about the quality of the anime being drawn. I am passionate about the story plot presented in the anime because in my opinion, Yueki is walking the path of justice and peace, which is the same as what I am currently doing. It is extremely rare to find such similarities between an anime and my real life experience. Some might even argue that I am obsessed with Law Yueki. Like Yueki would have said, I don't care. In essence, when watching the anime Law of Yueki, I implore you, the reader, to focus on the story plot and its hidden gems and elements that can be extremely important life lessons in real life. It sounds weird, but it is the truth. Law of Yueki teaches me not to be afraid to go against anyone, regardless if you simply cannot win against your opponent when it comes to upholding justice. I listened to Yueki and the wisdom contained in the anime. By doing so, I became much more resilient individual when fighting for my belief and upholding the values that are based from the teachings of Islam. I wish to share the numerous examples of my life experience right here in this chapter, but it might be better suited for upcoming chapters. As the title of this chapter suggests, I am an analyst in my life. I observe and analyze virtually everything that I possibly can. After analyzing, I theorize to test the theories and develop a sound tactics. I do this regarding everything in my life. I am continuously analyzing everything that I can observe and develop hundreds and possibly thousands of tactics in my lifetime. That is why, as the analyst, I even demonstrated how I dissect the elements of the anime Law of Yueki and analyze them to develop applicable theories in my real life. To a normal majority of the masses, I might appear to be sprouting gibberish. However, I never began my life story by describing myself to be a normal or ordinary human being just like everyone else. I think I am unique like Yueki. I am not Kosuke Yueki because my name is Azim Salimi. Hence, the title of my story is known as Law of Salimi. Thank you very much for listening for the chapter 19 and hope to see you in the future for chapter 20. Thank you for listening.